Okay, I'll try and see if we can go live then.
Yeah, perfect. Yay. Finally.
Is it warm where you have?
No, but we have the heat up high.
Oh, okay.
It's a little chilly. We're time. It's we want to pretend that it's warm, so we put a
We
nice.
like the in the room.
If we can imagine create the heat around us by wearing, short sleeve summer spring clothing and just
Yeah.
It's winter here.
Yes.
Here too. We had the fireplace on Beverly. It's about 35 degrees Fahrenheit today, but Michael and I like to feel we're in the warmth. So
yes. I love that.
Here, so we have the heat up.
Orchids,
so
flowers.
We can wear
summer and spring all year round in our home.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I think we are on live. I will just check.
Okay.
On our end, it says live on Facebook.
Yes. I just want to share it in a couple of groups, if that's okay.
Yes, of course. We're doing behind the scene.
Yes.
A little bit of videos here. Look, Michael, we're finally live, Beverly.
Wow. It's wonderful when we can get over the little speed bumps because all this technology kind of like.
Were you that over?
No, because it's fun to see Zoom and then you're on, then you're off, then restart the computer. So it's kind of like the flow of life. When there's little obstructions or hurdles come along, it's like, okay, we just kind of keep maneuvering around, see what happens. Voila, we giggle and laugh until finally we're on.
And I knew you would be on. It was no problem. It had to be 12:12 when we were on. Perfect.
Of course. I'm just going to put the volume up a little bit because it's difficult for me to hear what you're saying.
Okay, let me just put we're going to put our big microphone. Let me see if the big microphone is better.
Yeah. Okay.
Much better sound with the big microphone?
Yes, thank you. Yes. So, hi, beautiful souls. Welcome everybody to LOVEYounity. I'm Beverley Goodwin, your host, and I have beautiful guests, HoniB Michael, here today from Ascension Alchemists.
That's right.
I have to say that because that is like your newest beautiful creation. What I see, anyway, I know you create a lot of other things that I don't know about, so I'm looking forward to hearing about that. And you're also healers, both of you, and channels.
Yes.
And you work very much so in the divine love, divine union.
Correct.
So I'm also looking very much forward to hearing about that. I've noticed that you've been creating the last couple of weeks these fun game days on Wednesdays that you've been broadcasting. They're very much fun. And you, especially, Honey, I've noticed, are really connected to the whales and the whale energy. And that's very deep to your heart. I can feel that with you.
For many years.
Yes, yes. So welcome. And I'd just love for you to feel free to share whatever part of I think we could start with, for the people that don't know you, start with your journeys, how you met and what's happened since you met and what you're creating in the world right now together.
Thank you, Beverly. First, I want to thank Shannon for the Freedom Network and the way we cross paths with you. It's so important. And also Soology, because it's always important to just give gratitude to the behind the scenes, how we cross paths together as this soul reunion. And such a pleasure to have crossed paths with you and these couple of weeks of interaction until we met today. Perfectly on this 12th day of February, which is our play day, Wednesday. So right after this, Michael and I are more giddy today because right after this, we'll be diving into that Ascension Alchemist adventure playtime where we get to proceed forward from last week's experience into this week what we're going to do. So we've been very excited about it. So we are all coming in that giddy energy in this week of, particularly this week of Valentine energy that's so big in the US and other parts of the world, where Michael and I are more focused on the divine love and that unity of the inner divine alignment and the true essence of the love that is really heart-centered, that brings us together, which is the way you and I came together with Michael. That's really, really heart-based, and we just keep sharing the goods from here. So for that, I'm very grateful. And that is really the start of Michael and I's journey from 12,000 years ago till 3 years ago when we met at my at one of my events called the Galactic Shamanic Sound Medicine right here. And we're based in Washington, D.C. And it was in Baltimore, just about 45 minutes outside Washington, D.C., where I had just returned back from my 6-week tour in Europe. And I had this event. It was very interesting because I had my East Coast tour in Washington, D.C., and going up to Baltimore, then New Jersey, then New York, and Long Island. And somehow, magically, that week, everything fell apart one after another, except this one event in Baltimore, which was on November 16, 2016. And a dear friend of mine had reached out and said, this guy I just met, Michael, who'll be joining us, is that okay? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, you know. And so that's the night that Michael and I met at my event, and he got a chance to see me, my full headgear, and all speaking in many different languages of celestial and galactic and shamanic, and fully blasted. And our journey began right from that night on.
And Beverly, I was coming back recently from Bali after my second summer spending there, just taking the time to really assess where I was going in my life. My father was in the transcending moment of his post-stroke. My full business and health center in Mexico, that was shifting 10 years. All of a sudden, a visa was shifted and everything was up in the air. So as I came back, I was literally camping in my backyard, just meditating, doing shamanic journeys each day, and just really connecting with source to say, where am I being guided to go? Where is my next step? And it was just funny because, you know, I was being called to Mexico, I felt, but in a whole different realm, because here I was just really feeling into my heart, where am I supposed to go next? And it was interesting when I met HoniB, within 2 weeks, within 3 times, we were off to 3 different countries, from Belize to Guatemala, doing
to start our planetary grid work and clearing the land. And I mean, we met and we took off, like literally we met and we said, okay, let's talk. We talked the next day, and I kept saying, Michael, thank you. He kept saying, thank you. We kept going back and forth and this thank you. And then we met a couple of days later just to discuss, because we knew right away we have to travel together. And that usually doesn't happen to me at all. But I was supposed to actually go to Brazil. And that morning that I met Michael, you would appreciate this. That morning before I met Michael, I was on the phone with my dear sacred sister, Valerie, which I feel you really have to have on your show. So she's been part of the Planetary activation as well, which I was facilitating for 5 years before meeting Michael. So I called her. I said, oh my goodness, Valerie, my position is changed. I mean, I'm off to go back to Brazil. They just changed me. They're telling me to be on 12th floor in Tulum, and I got to go to Tikal for Guatemala. What is this? So she said, oh my gosh, honey, mine just changed. I got to go to Easter Island. And so everything changed for both of us, as the portals are always changing. So as soon as I got off the phone, because these 5 years on the road, I'm usually alone, but I'm doing this level of work. And there only been 2 people, Darius, that will be on your show on Friday. He's been on the land with me. And also, and they're only being unmarked. Only a couple of people have been able to be on the land with me, but nobody else. So that morning, as soon as I got off the phone with Valerie, I said to the universe, I said, whoever is the male energy that has to be with me, bring him now. And I hung up. That was it. And I went about preparing to go to the event, and I met Michael, and I had no idea it would be him, but through our conversation, it came up. He said, well, I'm supposed to go to Toulouse for 12/12. I'm like, what? And he's like, well, I'm supposed to work with some gate number 9. I'm like, I'm working with the gate number 9. Do you even know what that is? Like, I don't know what that is, you know?
Some shaman, it's going to not only do planetary healing,
right.
because I did a very powerful intuitive healing session in Bali, and just receive, as we all do, receive energy and just allow that to unfold. And for me, it was powerful when I met Honey. All these little synchronicities started to pop up, and it was just like.
But it was that night. It was that night we had a lot of communication. And when Michael gave me, after the event, he was so bedazzled with what took place. All Saint Germain showed up. There's actually a picture I took where I was like, wow, Master Saint Germain is here. I mean, the whole room was filled with violet flame. You could visibly see it. And I took a picture, and there's this beautiful violet flame over Michael, where I happened to take the picture as he was laying down, and there's a face in the photo that you see very clearly. And that night when we talked, he was like, I mean, there was so much interesting experience. And so when he gave me his number, it arrived on my phone at 12:12 p.m. a.m. And so we're working with this 12. So I'm glad we're speaking with you on this 12, because 12 is a big one for us. And within a week, we spoke, and Beverly, it was right away, because I was all about like business. Like, listen, business means like planetary work. I needed to know, does he know what he's doing? Has he ever worked with pyramids? Does he know how to work interdimensionally? Does he know how to answer? Does he know how to even anchor the codes? Who is he? And I like to put him through so much. And then do we share a room? Do we not share a room? We're supposed to travel 3 countries, how it's going to be. It was the most crazy take off 3 weeks we had, and just pure friendship. And I wanted to make sure if it was he okay, all these voices and different presence will come through me and speak. Can he actually handle that? You know?
That was definitely divine timing, right?
Oh yeah.
Everything totally lined up. Yeah, called to each other. Yes, definitely. Beautiful.
And I feel like I've almost been preparing and training my whole life, because growing up with 2 beautiful New Age spiritual parents that really brought me in a very loving, deep-rooted way, that brought spiritual retreats, brought meditation, brought travels throughout the country, really brought me into this at an early age. So what Honey was demonstrating was something that it just brought so much joy and happiness immediately. Once I met her, I was like, wow, this is the dream come true, to see someone and the fullness expression and just be bedazzled of what was before me without being overwhelmed. It was more like, wow, this is exactly what I feel, of resonance to.
Yeah,
and
so
Michael,
felt like home.
Sorry. It was interesting throughout when we learned, like as a child, he would sit like 7, 8 years old in the Reiki circles, and he, as a child, like 40s, almost 40 years ago, he was able to hold the 13 crystals, that were traveled. They were brought into the U.S.
The Great Crystal Skull.
The Great Crystal Skull. So he got to hold it like as a child, because his family was so into this. They would visit vortexes and all of that. And Michael was very immersed into this as a child. So when we met, there wasn't any resistance, and we were able to actually like very quickly take off. And we felt like we knew each other right away when we met each other. We just knew each other so deeply, very fast. We just had to catch up in this lifetime, and it took 3 years, Beverly.
Yeah. So are you aware that you've actually been together as a partnership in an earlier lifetime?
Yeah, many different
many lifetimes. I feel like when we were in Tikal in Guatemala, especially right around 1220, on the eve of 1221, we had just a very powerful experience where we were blasted by so much love that when we drove back, it was like, I don't know how you would express it, but we were just in this altered state, in this altered state of just feeling
the remembrance. Like we did a planetary work, and we had to, it was a very intense night that day. We had to cross the border. We had to get to this particular pyramid, and there were several pyramids on the land. We had to get to a certain place where the Council of Light had said where we had to be, and we had to bring the 7 rays to what was called like a 7th temple, but there wasn't a physical 7th temple there. We kept going around, where is it? There was no temple of the 7th temple there. And council
in the middle of the jungle.
In the middle of jungle. So we had the Council of Light. I started going into a channel, and they came in. They said, no, you have to create it. So we had to be very discreet about it. And there was a feminine temple and masculine temple. Then they were shown we have to anchor it here because this would be one of the cities of light. You two have to bring it. So this is, again, we still don't really know each other, and we're relying on, I'm relying on him. He knows what he's doing. Little do I know. So we go do this thing, and we have to make sure nobody really knows what we're doing, so we're not kicked out of this place. And once we finish the work, this right above us, in between these 2 temples, which I believe was like temple 5 and like temple 8 or 6 or 8, and then this particular place, this rainbow appeared right above us. And I mean, we both just started crying because we knew the work that we did, and these 7 rays of light that we had to bring them into the grid system worked. And it was right then we knew we were each other's beloved. It was like instant, and we've been together. We're just picking up where we left off, and we started really our life from that moment as a couple. And
the rainbow came out, parrots were chirping, it started to rain a little, and it was just one of those magical experiences that we were just like, wow, how divinely orchestrated that this came together in the middle of a, Takao is deep in the jungle, and there's many tourists around, and we had an hour before it closed. And it's a good 45 minutes to walk in the jungle to get there. So for us to experience that in one day, that we had to cross the Mexican border, go into Guatemala, pass all the military, and then come back in the pouring rain, and somehow we got there and stopped raining for that 1 hour, then drove back.
And because then we had to be for the winter solstice at the other temple, because we had to clear the energy of Atlantis the next day. This was for the sun temple, because, and that's when I remember, that's when Atlantis went down, that's where I was, that's where I died. So we had to, I mean, there was just a lot of things, clearing energy, remembering, resetting, rebalancing. I mean, there's just so much. And that's a long answer to a question. Each other.
No, it's beautiful, because I love that. I love that you recognized each other when you met. Like there was this resonance. And
well, the team above always said to me, so before I met Michael, it was, okay, before I died, Beverly, 2 years ahead, this vision was given to me that I will meet this other person. And at that time I was married and very faithful wife for 21 years. I mean, everything for me was my children and my husband. And so this vision was given 2 years in a row. Every time I would go in meditation, I was given this vision that I'm with somebody else, not my spouse. And that made me feel very uncomfortable. And we're doing this worldly events, and we have thousands and thousands of people that are coming, and we're part of resetting their hearts, and we're doing this thing. And I felt so terrible. So of course I did everything possible for my husband to hold on to the marriage even stronger, even deeper. And my husband at that time was a special agent with Department of Defense, top intelligence. Meanwhile, we were having so much experiences in our homes with the ships, with plasma ships. My child, especially my younger child, he's very, very galactic. And we had so many crazy experiences. And I felt so bad that there's a vision of another man. But Team Above had said, when you meet him, you will know instantly. And after my marriage dissolved, and And between that, until I met Michael, I did meet a few others, and they had the potential, but it wasn't the signature. So when Michael and I met, there was this very strong recognition of each other, even though in the beginning it was just pure friendship, nothing more, but there was this signature was very clear in recognition. And that's a frequency that we really, it's like unmistakable. Yeah.
And how did that evolve from there, from this friendship? And then you started creating you went traveling for 3 weeks together, and you went to different countries, didn't you? And then there must have been some evolvement from that.
It went from like the ignition and to evolving into mass explosion. But what really happened, and one of the messages I received before meeting HoniB was I was going to meet a shaman that was going to help close my center down in Mexico. And so when we came back, HoniB, spoke to me, are we going back to Mexico to help close your center down? So she came back with me and stayed for a week. And then I spent the next 3 weeks. I thought it was going to be a long, a soft close, but it was actually, 2 weeks of taking 10 years of being a town's healer and literally just shutting everything down to then begin our journey in West Hollywood, Los Angeles. Now, I would love to say from those 3 weeks, everything just went off in beautiful butterflies and love. But in my honesty, I feel like when I came back, pardon my French, the shit hit the fan of all of my stuff that I thought I had completed in my own evolution, in my own journey, was brought out in ways that I definitely placed a lot on this beautiful, dear, sacred heart in the energies that were moving through me, because she took on so much in a time period where my dad was getting ready to ascend. We were moving just through a lot of, I personally feel like I had a hard time acclimating to America, let alone Washington, D.C., after being away for 17 years by the beach, 10 years in a town that I was literally living the kind of motorcycle diaries lifestyle, and then coming home and meeting someone that was already ready to take off, already to take the journey. And I was just coming back kind of dazed and confused of like, okay, we have to sign a lease. I don't know if I can sign a lease right now. Like all of my fears, all of my inner energies came up, which definitely created a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of impact on HoniB. More than I could possibly imagine, because there was just, I wasn't aware of what was coming before me. It was probably the hardest moments of recognizing where I came from and then coming into our divine unity, but it all coming forward.
And that's part of the initiation. Most people don't realize, Beverly. I want to say, people that they're individuals that are called to having a relationship. Then there are individuals that know they're part of a sacred divine calling, so they can be of service. And if they're being called that, there is no smooth ride at all. Once you come together, then you go through initiation and initiation and initiation and initiation and initiation, because this divine so-called union has to be put through so much. As the sacred flame is going to be tested to be sure it can handle the work that is before it, the planetary work, the transformation work, the ascension work. So and there's this idea, okay, so we met, we had a magical 3 weeks. It was exciting, kind of like adventurous, like, we would drive from one place, we would receive the code, get up, go to the other one, come back, get to the other temple, like all over the country. We're all over, from this country to that country, jumping. And it's just like very much like how you say that Indiana Jones. And yet then we come back, and my children live in Washington, D.C. My former spouse is here, mother, and Michael's family was here. And here is a very difficult, energetic field. Right here. And to start our life here, I had left here for a couple of years because I was on the road so much. But for both of us to start our life, so that's when it began, like everything showing up to demonstrate you got to align. You thought you were ready.
Yeah.
You definitely the idea was great. Now let's really get you ready. And that's really the truth has been the 3 years of our journey after meeting, each year getting better. But the first year was very tough. It was very confusing because we felt so much magic. We really experienced directly the magic of being in a sacred divine union, what it's like, and I mean, so much magical things. And then you have to start your life. And to start the life, and for Michael, he knew it couldn't be both of us are not signed up for ordinary life. And that was a very interesting thing because he had to really face things that he hadn't faced before. And I had already been living this for 5 years. So that took a while to get adjusted.
And coming back to what we felt, I mean, I feel both of us, we wanted to come back here, but in our dreams, we were like, where could we go that could be beautiful, tropical, wonderful? But as you know, a lot of us light workers, way showers, we're brought to areas that need to expand that light. And to, sometimes, leaving a place of 17 years and coming back, it's a harsh reality. Like, wow, I'm back where I started. I love it. And to have all the, not challenges, but tests around to move into it together. It was really a testament to our love to move through these initiations, and also being guided by the divine forces through channels, through energies, through masters that were communicating through HoniB, through all the messages that we're giving were put before us. And I feel like these tests and these initiations are of the highest call, because in divine union, it's no ordinary trigger. It's, I feel like what is being called before divine unions, we're doing this through the collective, and we've been called in the highest levels. And sometimes you'd be like, okay, 1 week has been great, then all of a sudden, bam, we get hit hard, and our energies come up, and to really learn the beauty of it, because we know that it's coming through us, so it can be experienced, so it can be taught, so it can be educated, so it can be shared, because we know that all of us are going through these. It's just the intensity of what we felt. It was on an octave that maybe some people can tackle 5-10 years into the relationship. Somehow our souls signed up and said, you know what, when you meet, it's going to be lovely. And the next
all
3 weeks,
12,000 years going to come together.
Fireworks. And then the real stuff hit, where it truly pushes us to beyond the edge of the edge, because
in that, Beverly, is where the teacher is. In that, we've been for years, I've been asked not to read anything, not to follow anything, nothing, direct experience. And the social media is a vehicle in which that direct experience from the wisdom that has been gained is to be shared. That's the teacher. So us as a union, Michael was never on social media, no Facebook, nothing. I'm like, you got to come on, and doesn't matter what we're facing, is being shared. So there's like, you got to get, that's a muscle you got to get comfortable with, where he's totally on this side, as you see, like we get to share it. And because to demonstrate we're not any different than anybody else, but we have answered the call that we are in service to be fully focused and devoted to this. So anything that also takes place in our lives individually and together is part of what has to be shared. The blessings of it has to be passed on forward so everybody else benefits. So that's the gift of a sacred divine union, is this flame. Everything comes from this flame. Everything. I mean, everything. And it's here for the highest good of all. So it is not just ours. We're just, a little bit of it is for us. The rest is for our service to humanity.
And thank you for saying that, because I think it's so important that we don't I don't know what the word is, but we blow this thing up about divine union. I mean, I'm single, and I'm being called to meet my partner this year, and I feel the energy of him, and I'm terrified because I know I've worked with him myself for many years, but I know that the things that I've cleared, they're going to come up again, and they're going to come up on a lot deeper level that I'm not even aware of in this moment. Because, and then that he will bring his, and we have to work through it together, right? And clear it together. And but there's this fantasy illusion about the divine. Oh, I'm going to meet my soulmate, my soul flame, my divine union, and everything's going to be hunky-dory and flowers and love, and of course it's all of that as well. Yes, but there's a lot of work involved, isn't there?
Absolutely. Yeah. But the work, it's the labor of love. It's a different consciousness, Beverly. Yes. So I'm glad if you have felt called that. I really want to address this, because I have had several of my other sacred goddess sisters that they have had the same calling, because we know we're part of the 144,000 to anchor this unity. It's the unity that we're embodying into the grids, and our work again is part of the planetary ascension. If you're called to that, which means when that you start working with the signature of that person's soul, and when that person's soul comes into your field, then your fields have to get synchronized, because you have to get synchronized in the song of that heart, the song of your love, the song of the sacred flame. And that really does take it. Don't touch it, Michael, like, so we don't. Yeah, I'm afraid if he touches something. And so, and that part is very important. And what is important, we that have come together and we're living example of embodying this. We're also sharing very flat out, yes, there is a lot of magic. We experienced some incredible things, and we've also experienced some very dark, difficult things, because they're all part of the same, because we're transforming the energy in ourselves, in our lives, in our ancestry, in the collective. So what we have signed up for requires a lot of strength, and it can no longer be your human will. Your human will not give you the power to go through this. The will of you has to be replaced by the divine will if you are called to be a divine union, because you have to stomach a lot to be able to deliver this. And there is fun, there is joy, and there's a lot of responsibility, because there's a lot of power in it. And you got to get humbled how to handle it, how to swallow it, and how to be just in bow of this, and have yourself check every day, many times through the day, you know, and all of your own crap comes up, and the crap that's in between comes up, because you're in the presence of the great mysteries witness that's witnessing all. You can't hide nothing.
And that in itself is also very beautiful.
Yeah. Yes.
Because we're going there, right? And you're there. You're an example of that, and everybody else is going there too.
Yes.
At some stage, we're all gonna, and I don't know if it necessarily means that we're all gonna meet our soulmate, divine union in that way. I believe some of us will continue on our own on this journey, but we're all going.
Yes.
We're all here. It's really difficult to put it into words, isn't it? But it's like the ascension is happening no matter what, where you are on your path.
And what's important, I want to just clarify this. Not everybody has signed up to be in a physical embodiment of a sacred divine union. Yeah. Many have signed up to go through the divine union within themselves and their partner from the spirit realm. This is also very important. Not necessarily, I feel if it's on the physical realm, you sign up to go through even the harder one. And when you are when it's the connection to the spirit realm, there's a bit more leeway and a little bit more ease and all of that. Not a judgment, but when it's a physical incarnation, whew, that's even more labor, I would have to say. And so for those that are signed, and the ultimate one in a sacred divine union, this is so important. You cannot be in a sacred divine union if you are not in the divine union within your own inner beloved. If that inner beloved has not merged with you, with your higher self, with your I am, there's no way you can be in a physical in embodiment of the sacred divine union, because you're going to get kicked out and it will not last, it will not be sustainable, and you can't even handle the work between it. So that is the number one. So Michael and I, we are number one devoted to our alignment on a daily basis first and most beyond anywhere else. And as I shared on Sheenan's talk before, I was like, Michael, if you're interested in some romantic relationship, I'm not the chick for you. Go find that one. Like, if you want that, go, because that doesn't even call to me. No. Like, this is a calling. So it requires you to be loved by the grace of Almighty first before you can handle this. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
totally. It's really important. You have to stretch yourself to move into your own beloved so you can carry this.
Yeah, and that's the journey, isn't it? Within. Always. Always, all days.
The journey is absolutely beautiful, Beverly. I know that, even before you mentioned about, meeting your beloved and having a little worry and being a little scared, but I find that when there's that ability for you just to trust, that when being brought together, it is a beautiful mirror of what comes forward, because we both know that the sensitivities, the highest sensitivities between us, are the ones that are most deeply in our hearts, that are there to transcend. The ones that really help us evolve are the ones that come forward when we meet our divine partner. And I find it's beautiful. We can judge hard, we can judge difficult, we can judge, horrific, but we can also look at it as this is a transformation to be placed into our highest expression of our goddess, godlike nature. And so I find when the divine union comes, we're already meeting each other at a consciousness that wants to be heard, that wants to evolve, and that wants to transcend. When Honey and I go through our biggest levels of transmutations, there's so much communication of what we're moving through. And a lot of the communication is really, it's that emotion that wants to be washed away, that energy emotion. It's what's coming through the collective. And the more we can be hearted, be heard, the more that our deepest wounds come up, it's amazing to have that partner to really hold you and hear you in ways that has never been formed. Because, I know that a lot of times it's so powerful just to listen and feel what is coming up from the deepest level. And I find right now there is a great amount of the lesser masculine, or what we know as a toxic masculine, that's being brought forward through the sacred feminine. And that is an energy that's being cleared and cleansed. And a lot of times, as you know, through the sacred divine feminine, they're the ones, the creators, that are feeling it first. And us men are a little slower, and we catch up in levels. Yet it's such a powerful, beautiful process that when we go through it, maybe at the time it's quite painful. Yeah. Maybe at the time it seems like it's unreal. But when we move through it and then recognize what everyone is going through in the collective and in our society, it brings such a gift, because it's like, wow, I'm not alone. What we're all experiencing together, we just realize that, the tests are not little acorns. They're not little seeds being tossed. These are like heavy bricks being thrown right at and asking, can you do it? And as you know, the universe never gives us anything too big or too small that we can't handle. It's always coming back to the heart, in our compassion, in our love, to fully dissolve it all. And it's definitely, one of the most powerful journeys that we can sign up for. That we did sign up for, that we came here on this mission. So I always find there's a gift and blessing out of all that comes forward. It really allows us to see and feel deeper than what this human body can sometimes mentally think,
Yes.
judge,
Yeah.
or react to.
Yes, and when we get out of our own way, when I say that, I mean our minds, things unfold in a way that you couldn't even imagine in your mind.
Exactly.
So you really need to, I've experienced this myself many times, where fear has been one of the emotions that I've really had to work with and release within myself. And every time I've had that fear and anxiety, and I've done it anyway, what I've been called to do, it just,
yeah.
And as once you've experienced that, then you want to experience it again, because you know that you're evolving and you're unfolding and you're creating this amazing reality for yourself and for others, even though you're a little scared, but then there's just the excitement of that as well. So the energies are very similar, actually, aren't they? The excitement and the fear. And it's recognizing, okay, maybe this is just excitement, because I don't know, I'm stepping into an unknown. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to meet doing this, but I'm being called to do it. And once I step into it, I know on a very deep, innate level that everything is fine. Yeah,
absolutely.
And how powerful, Beverly, when that knowing comes from the knowing of the heart.
yes.
And feeling that love does dissolve everything, and that
Yes.
fear, sometimes we know, is that deprogramming, that dissolving of the conditions. And once we move through that fear and that love expands to even greater levels, then those limited lower parts of our mind and our society, they don't have an effect over you anymore. Yet we have to transmute them by going through it. And those fears, I find, are the veils, are the gifts that we get to emerge and transform through it. I mean, it's really going through the fullness of it, so that on the other side, there's that love and celebration that we can see how much it brought forward the teachings of what happened together.
Yeah, yeah, it's very good.
The present really is the presence in which we move into, that we gift ourselves. And whenever any of these come up, when we choose, especially as I feel like I'll speak in being in a female incarnation in this dynamic, the strength in being able to say no, the strength in being able to really voice my truth, no matter what, because often it's been swayed to please and and to really stand in it, to stand in that presence, dare to really give power to what's deep inside this space that wants to be hearted by the self, and the other person is only sort of like a sounding board, so this can come out. That gift opens up within the individual and within that person, and that's where the energy then is able to transform, go back into motion, because the energy is been somewhere stuck somewhere, and often in childhood, that hasn't been able to be hearted, be heard, to be able to expand. And underneath it is because it just wants to be loved. That's it. And when we're able to dare give ourselves, it is ultimately, truly the highest gift we give to ourselves and we give to everybody else, because it no longer has any impact, any trigger, anything on us. And that's where you have to go through it yourself. You have to go, as the masters always said, there is no escaping it, because when you take it from the spirit realm into the etheric, into the mental plane, you have to then go through the emotional body in it. You have to swim through the waters to bring it into the physical, so it can then be mattered. Really, the gift is then materialized on earth, and it cannot otherwise happen when you just work on the mental plane. So you're able to feel the pain of it, on the other side of it is only love that awaits you to behold you. And if people can just give themselves the strength and the courage from the higher part of them to help them go through it, then they'll be on the other side of it. And then they're able to bring the love into the physical incarnation. And not easy at all, but we didn't sign up for it to be easy either. Ascension is celebration, absolutely, but it's only celebration. Once you pass that, then you can really feel the celebration.
Yeah, it's not easy, and it's a very interesting path of honesty, integrity, courage, vulnerability, humbleness, and allowing yourself to express it all.
Yeah.
And allowing yourself to be okay with it all. Yeah. And that's been the biggest lesson for me, is when my heart really started to open and I really started to love myself, and I allowed myself to express, even no matter what it looked like, no matter who projected on it, or who, you know, whatever other people thought about it, it became nothing to do with anybody else. It became my own. Yes. And I think once we reach that stage and we take that responsibility, and like you were saying, HoniB, so beautifully, stand in your own honesty, your own sovereignty, your own courage, then you can feel the magic.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Because it's literally, it's really then like all your monads, all your aspect, the whole presence, the I am just is poured in, and it's merged with the human self, and you're able to literally experience it. And there are days that Michael hears me, like in the morning when I start my prayer, I start like the vibration starts going, so I'm like singing it because I can't help it, because it's coming in. I can feel it, literally feel it, but I can now feel it because all these debris from the emotional body have been transmuted, they've been washed, so I can feel it. There's this streaming line, and it anchored as I'm standing. It literally is going through all my bodies as a portal, beaming, like coming completely through at a cellular level, going straight down to the center of Gaia, and I can feel how fluid it is. And that's the present, because it is no longer interfered by these things that I had not addressed because I was afraid of facing them, you know, and or all of us, and it goes back to loving ourselves. I never forget, Yeshua one day said to me, he said, when will you let yourself be loved the way divine loves you? And Beverly, I just stood frozen, and I was like, I can't be loved like that. I'm too ashamed, I'm too embarrassed, I'm too dirty, I can't. And I really took a whole weekend, and I hid myself in a closet, and I cried so much. I felt so dirty and disgusting, and those of us who've been sexually abused, there's a lot of that energy that had to go through, and his presence was like, when will you give this to you? Divine loves you. There's no judgment. Even though we hear it on the mental plane, there's a whole different strength when we bring it into the emotional body. And then there's another level when we want to bring it into the physical body, because the whole point is we're bringing heaven on earth. It has to come in this way. And that vibration, there is no other gift we can give to anyone but to ourselves, when we can let ourselves be loved the way we are, as a loving vibrationally being coming from source light. No other gift is greater than that. And that's the true ascended being that is able to vibrate in that presence of love and to end the suffering within. because the suffering only is coming from its separation of how love you are. And I know that shoe of suicide suffering for years, because I just couldn't have, I knew the idea, okay, so divine loves me, but I just couldn't fully allow it because too much pain in the emotional body. And I couldn't be loved enough. I was just not lovable. I'm too dirty. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I've been there. I've been through the same. Yes, exactly. Yes, and we're not just healing it for ourselves anymore. We're also healing it for the collective and for the ancestral lineage, and we're stopping it now, aren't we? This is the end of the line. This is what I'm feeling. Yes, definitely the end of the line. No more. That's
and we
it.
don't pass it on to the children. We don't pass it on to the animals. We don't like, and that's why the pain is so deep. But the pain is the pain of separation from the divine love. And when we resurrect ourselves by going through it and transforming it and rising as an ascended being in human form, because we've transcended the deepest shame, embarrassment, hate, that level of pain that's so heavy in energy that has kept us like this, and we expand. We have become the Christed being because we have been able to bring the forgiveness and love. Then we resurrected on the other side of it, and that's the personal journey of ascension. And we are all signed for it. Some of us are in the first wave, some are second, third wave. No easy way, but I will tell you, the first waves, like, we sign up for the hardcore one and all of it at once. I just have a lot of respect for that, because we really chose to stomach a lot purposely so we can clear it as a transformer completely.
Yeah. Beautifully said.
It's very beautifully said. Thank you. I feel one of the biggest gifts just to follow is we get to embody this heaven on earth. And I feel taking all judgment, all personalization, all the things that we label, that this human vessel, we're embodying every single thing that comes through us. And that is the gift that the Ascended Masters, the Angelic realm, all of them out there, they don't experience the feeling of what comes through this vessel. And I find that the feeling is so powerful, because even the pain, even the shame, even the guilt, it is all there to be loved. It is all there to be transformed. And I find that's one of the biggest levels that we can really respect, is that love that is within us, that is our divine connection, is here to expand into all those areas of our limited self, those dark areas. And the more we can take that divine love within and keep expanding it as we expand, and as we keep getting stretched in higher and higher frequencies, how powerful it is that those areas that a lot of us have been through some of the harshest pain, through the Lemuria, through Atlantis, through times that we come in without the voice, so we come in without the power, we come in feeling a little intimidated. This love that brews within us, that expands within us, is given this opportunity to fully resurrect all those areas so that we can be the fullness of who we are. And it's beauty when we can really see that it's already within us. We've already been given that since we've been born.
Yes.
Now we're going through what we see, the densest and darkest areas within where you live, within where we live, and just keep honoring and thanking that divine love that is here to ultimately be expressed for the highest good of all.
Yes, I totally agree. And I feel it, every single word that you've both said, I feel energy. This is, I don't have to say much because I get it all. It's like, and I'm feeling it. And this is why I sit going like this, because I'm just like, yes, 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 yes. I totally agree. That totally resonates, all of it. And I love that you're sharing you're sharing this, and I love that you're sharing the humanity side of it too, because it's so important. We are the boots on the ground. We are living this, and we are here in a human body because we have chosen to be here in a human body as spirit and to go through these expansions and evolve as the soul and the human.
Yes.
And we're creating this for further generations, aren't we? We're creating a new way of being a human, in, you know, being a light body in a human.
Yeah.
And it's important that we understand that it's both sides of it, that
Yes.
we can't just fly out and be on 5D, 12D, 100D, or whatever you want to be. We can all do that. We know we can be there, and it's beautiful to be there, but we're here. We need to bring it, like Michael said, embody it into the human. All aspects of self need to be embodied.
Yes.
And I find one of our major roles, all of us,
Yes.
as that embodiment is happening, is to fully anchor it.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, there's so many of us that can go to all these levels, but to fully anchor that within ourselves in the beingness of it all.
Yeah.
And that beingness is how our thoughts go from moment to moment, how our reactions occur from moment to moment, and how we hold that within ourselves, because we all know we can talk it, we can preach it, we can teach it, but the ultimate is how much are we being that in our manner throughout the day, because that is the ultimate test of where we are in just our own level of ascension, because it's that feeling of I'm embodying it, I'm anchoring it. Now am I acting through what is being blessed upon us? Because that's, I feel, the biggest test to really be put forward, because
I agree. Yeah.
we can live in our own individual lives. And before I met Honey, I thought I was doing an amazing, unbelievable job and service. Yet when we meet ones that really bring forth our highest level of triggers and pains, they are our biggest teachers of forgiveness, our biggest teachers of acceptance, and most important, surrendering for what's in front of us, because it's that gift that's been put forward. And I just feel honored that this human presence is something that we, out of the whole universe, have this gift at this moment to experience.
Yes. And I feel what's also important right around this, as you said, Beverly, there are so many, we are multidimensional. There are infinite dimensions. We already are infinite dimensional beings all the way to source light. We are the extension of source light embodied in this now, here in this reality. We are in parallel reality, parallel universes as well. Okay, so here physically focused, here experiencing it. And what is so important, as we open up, as these pathways open up within us, and we're able to experience our higher dimensional consciousness. And again, it's beyond 144 dimensions. I feel that that's even silly. It's just infinite dimensions. And this infinite being that is coming into the finite expression, the job of it is just one, is can the love of the all omnipresence be brought into this finite expression? And that's why it pushes against all areas within us that is missing the love. It's in opposition of it. So then it comes to bring it to the awareness that this has to be brought into it, transmuted. This has to be brought to it, expanded. This has to be brought to ascended. So, and it's just one job. One job is to bring the love. Whether we volunteers, majority of us are volunteers on earth, so we can bring it. And part of it has to do is, as we're connecting more to our solar essence, that we are children of the sun, we are sun beings, right? We're bringing that solar presence into our garment so that the crystalline rays of our light can shine. So like as we're meeting you, I'm fully aware of the rays of light that are interacting with us while our physical embodiment is having its earthly communication. I'm fully aware of like above what is taking place here. And part of that is so that these rays of light that we already are able to interact and become more of its full expression on Gaia. And that's where we come together. That's where we meet in this platform. So more of that truth of what we are is brought in. So then these sort of like fears of the financials or fear of where is my beloved, fear of these things can become minuscule, how you say, like tiny, like dust, and be put on the side, because it is of such illusion of this truth of the presence. Like we are the ultimate presence. Are we willing to accept that so we can live from this presence, to serve from this presence? And that gives us the power to act, share, serve in a complete different dimension of consciousness that hasn't been brought to earth. We're bringing it to earth. You see that? And that's what's part of the new cities of light, the golden age, because we are being the Christed beings through that in which we have clear, transformed, transcended, so that it becomes the embodiment. Like I've had several people say, "Are you Mary Magdalene incarnation?" I'm like, I can't even resonate with that. We're all carrying the Magdalene frequency. Michael is carrying the Yeshua frequency. I am not interested in walking as Yeshua Mary Magdalene. By that presence, the ultimate expression of love, I am able to bring into this human garment, and together with my brother, only for the pure purpose of serving serving the highest that we possibly can be stretched to. No. You're Magdalene's sister, you know that. I totally recognize you as the Sacred Order of White Rose. Like, right, there's just so much, like just.
I just feel so held in so much love right now. I really feel us all holding each other in so much pure love. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome.
I would really love you to just share before we close this interview.
Yes.
I have time if you do.
We have plenty of time.
I want to end this on a playful note.
Yes. And anybody has any question, we love to answer any question.
Okay. I'll go on and see if there's anybody.
And I should just share this. This is, and Beverly will answer what you like. I just want to share, Michael and I are so grateful. We're so honored. For those that might be interested, we finally have answered the call to facilitate our first retreat in Sedona, end of April.
Yeah.
Couldn't be more grateful, because we've been putting this prayer out. We've been wanting people to, Michael and I we're full-time healers, we're full-time facilitator, we're full-time ceremony, a lot of facilitation on that. And I mean, we travel, great work. I mean,
all based on love offering, which we are blessed by the source and energies that come through us. As we know, we're being called to be of divine service from our hearts, and really allow the trust of what moves through, and just thankful for these platforms to open up and to invite those that feel that precious.
Right, and we're part of the change within the financial system by bringing in the love and prayers to it. Having said that, we had a dear sister that opened her place to us in Sedona, and we're so grateful. So we can do a full 2.5 days of divine alignment retreat, helping people that really want to move into this divine alignment, but what we put together. And on that Sunday, we're collaborating with Sandra Walter on that Sunday unity meditation that she's been doing for 4 years. And we really want to put that out there for those that feel called. Finally, here, it doesn't have to cost you arm and a leg. Here, we're passing on the goods because somebody passed this on to us. So reach out to us. And I just really wanted to put that out there, because we're just so grateful. The the more we open up, the more free we do, the more universe is supporting us. And this is part of the change, but just serving from the purest of our love, and how incredible and grateful we are. So I just want to put that out there.
Yes, that's beautiful. This happens to me when I connect with beautiful souls, and I just feel, oh wow, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And you know, I get all teary-eyed, and just ignore me.
Those tears are heartfelt tears.
Yes, definitely they are. Yes, I feel so moved right now. I would love you to share about these fun Wednesdays that you're having, so because people can join that and see what you're creating there. And I think it's so important as we're going through all the ascension, and there's difficulties, there's challenges, that we have some fun. Yeah. And you're creating that. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy that you mentioned this, because I feel Honey and I, we're very playful.
Yeah.
And we find that, you know, this ascension process doesn't have to be so dark and gloomy. We have to take it so serious. We take ourselves so serious.
We do take it seriously. We're service.
We're of service, but there's a portion where we have to play and allow. And what I really appreciate about this play is that it really brings us back to our innocence. Many of us, you know, when we look at our innocence, this was the trueness of what we came into this incarnation. That innocence reflects the purity. It reflects the everlasting light. And for us to demonstrate and really return back to our child and create these spontaneous, fun adventures that help include everyone connect to their hearts, I really feel it brings a sense of lightness to the heaviness, because there needs to be a divine alignment of what we're moving through. And when we can really tap into that joy, the fun, and just the pure love of what it is to feel the gifts of what our inner child gives us, is literally one of the biggest presents we can give. So on every Wednesday, Honey and I have dedicated this Ascension Adventure playtime, so that we can really, really dance with our inner child.
We play, Michael and I do play that, because there's this part of Michael and I that's like, we feel it's very important. We meet the kindergarten between us. We meet the teenager. The teenager is very funny when we meet the adult and then the adult. So all parts of us constantly meet each other. And we found the inner child really loves, and we really just allow it, you know. And we have like unicorns all over the place, you know, and we have just all kinds of things. But along the way, so Wednesdays we've been doing our meditations together since we met. We sit in that, we receive the messages and what have you. And we really felt 2020, this 2020 energy is really, you know, this forward energy, the inner child, the teenager, the adult and elderly has to be balanced. So a lot of times, Beverly, like Michael knows, and people have heard it in my talks, I have like council meeting with my other ones. So my elderly is here and listens to my inner child, that if there hasn't been enough play, she's upset, or like the teenager is throwing tantrum, or the adult is trying to balance everything. There's like a chaos. So I get to meet with them, everybody, making sure everybody's happy every day, because if they have not had their time, it's a mess. You know, so we felt 2020 is so dedicated. The golden age has to be this golden energy, and the inner child is the key center of the golden age. So we started the dedication to it, and as 2 weeks ago we opened the Ascension Alchemy page. So it's a portal, both of us coming in. It's now on Instagram and YouTube. And Wednesday we started it last week to go on to Target and the toy store department.
I love it.
So much fun. So today, after your show, we picked up a gift. So we are going to open it. It'll be live, and we're going to play with this gift that we picked up. So we're so excited. There's no organization. It's going to be pure, raw, real, live. And every week is going to be very raw, real, and unplanned, you know, like that. So you get to really be in it. And since the video last week, we had several people are like, oh my God, honey, that was so nourishing. That was so good. It inspired me. And one of our couple friends is like, we decided we should go to the toy store just to buy a toy for ourselves, you know?
It's like you ask yourself, what would you enjoy to create play? Because we know as adults, we get so caught in this so-called work, and we go into overwork, into over-responsibility. And when I said seriousness, not taking anything away from Ascension, but we take ourselves too seriously, honestly. We put so much physical nature. And when you really look at children playing, Beverly, when you watch them, they don't have a care in the world because they fall over. They write on each other. There's just this everything from our adult, rational, critical, left side of our brain just kind of falls away into that imaginary, creative, fun part that we realize that is the infinite part that is here to expand and really to bring back our childlike innocence, because when we bring that, it's so much fun, and it's so it's like this catalyst. I call it like this collective domino effect that we want to have fun, we want to play, we want to take some of this, you know, heavy mass that we deal with so much of our life and just create a balance of it. Just to create
of course we do.
Opportunity.
Yeah.
So
I'm so blessed.
And the other part of it, with Michael, and I was like, okay, Michael, when you say I can't resist, and when I say you can't resist, so there's no resistance. We just exactly like we were, like, you know, literally on the playground. So that's the agreement we made with each other. So there's going to be a lot of silliness, and we're really putting ourselves out there with this. And I'm just so giddy, the idea of it.
I can feel it.
So you see it.
I'm so blessed because I have two children. They're 14 years apart. So since I was 25, I've had children living at my home, and I still do. So we've always been in constant play.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
so
it's amazing. So when I became a teenager and went off and wanted to do his own thing, then I had a baby, and I went through all the whole process again.
So wonderful.
Yeah.
How amazing it is to play, Beverly. I mean, we really bring that art of play. I feel it's literally one of the biggest gifts we give ourselves, because of just all the energies that come with it. I mean, when we really look at the stress and anxiety and the fear and all these like energies in the mind, when we play, it transforms all that, because we're in this present moment where literally what we feel is that's when the magic really happens, because there's a meeting of energy that comes from our heart that just wants to live from this moment to moment without planning, and just bring in the joy of our hearts so that we can express our love with each other, and most important, express the love outwardly to show that everyone has this opportunity to feel that within themselves, because sometimes we've lost that place. Sometimes we grow up too quick. Sometimes maybe our parents didn't provide that because of just circumstances, but there's never a day that you can just stop and say, okay, I'm going to a toy store. I'm going to take a stuffed animal and just have fun. Just jump into it so you can feel that juicy deliciousness of what it is to be a child again.
Yeah.
Thank you for welcoming that.
Oh, so welcome. And this has been an absolute pleasure. True pleasure.
For us. Thank you.
Thank
and
you
this
so much.
Valentine energy, like
yes.
you are that energy yourself, and you gift it to yourself. You don't wait for nobody. Like this Friday, we have our Friday Tea Time Ascension talk. Darius is going to be on your show.
Yes. I'm so looking forward to that.
It's going to be amazing. And on Friday, this particular one, it's fully dedicated to the Valentine energy, and really, again, is about this presence with event here in Maryland, where I'm teaching one of my favorite classes, Beverly. That I've taught several years, is to dive into the meditation, experience the inner divine love, but meditating with chocolate. And it's very sensual. It's
wow.
Shamanic. I have my drum out, the body moves, like you feel the sensual energy. And I've taught it in Dubai, I've taught it in Turkey, I've taught it in London and Spain, and I mean so many countries. And it's so delicious. And what I really thrive is individuals experiencing that inner deliciousness. And that's Saturday night, because I feel like you don't wait for no one. You the gift to you, because then the energy opens up for that blessing to come to you. You don't wait, you know.
No. I was so joyous when Darius got back to me and said that he could be on the 14th, and I was like, that's a beautiful Valentine's gift for me, being alone.
Totally.
What a gift, and to have you on my show, that would just be heaven.
Yeah, and he is a gift.
Yes, he is. Absolutely.
And so is Steven. Like, it's
yes.
like.
And thank you so much. Thank you
Valerie.
so much for introducing me to those two beautiful guys. I can't wait to connect with them even more. They're both, oh my goodness.
The thing that I will share with you, it's all in the same vibration that we are. So
I feel it.
You're like,
this is heaven. Yeah.
Beverly, thank you for this opportunity. We always feel blessed, deeply honored in this space and time that our hearts can connect, our souls can connect, and we can just feel this activation of love.
Totally.
This love is really this contagious feeling that we get to spread it, and that is our biggest gift. When we can share this love and express it and feel it and just be ourselves in our truth and honesty, then we're just allowing life to live through us. We're just allowing this beautiful journey to unfold in its most natural way. And we just cannot be more grateful for this opportunity to finally meet you eye to eye, heart to heart, have this beautiful experience to share and really to come forward. And what we find is the biggest gift, to connect soul family, connect our tribes, connect everyone in this beautiful mission that we're all so grateful to be a part of.
Yes, you're so amazing, and we're so grateful. And for the viewers, Beverly, we are one of the focus. We're on Tuesday nights. For Europe, might be a little bit late. Every Tuesday night evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Washington D.C. time, we have open our space, and also globally, for this silent 30-minute focus meditation, where we can embrace, fill ourselves with that divine love, and together come and direct energy of that love to Gaia and her humanity, and choose to see the highest vision. So we started this in 2020, and it's growing, and it's amazing. We posted a note about it yesterday, because we now had another person in South Carolina that we know reached out, said, hey, look, I'm going to open my home to join forces with you. So there are people that are just coming in. They're also opening their places so we can all come to this portal of light. And I really like to invite others to join us. It is on our YouTube channel at Ascension Alchemists. And anybody that has a center, studio, private home that wants to host this 30 minutes, please reach out to us so we can announce it, and we can create this massive global effect just by the power of our divine love, because we've been experiencing so many experiences just sitting 30 minutes together with this focused energy. We're very clear what's happening on a much larger picture. So I just wanted to take opportunity as we speak with you. Anybody else, please reach out to us. We would love this to grow even bigger. And also, please mark May 5th, 5/5, a big portal day for a ginormous global event that I will announce. I would really invite everybody to take part. It has to do with the whales. We will be in Hawaii, so we want as many people to take part. I'll announce it. I get chills. I'm going to make the announcement on March 5th for it, so we have 2 months out, and that should be a ginormous platform. So anybody can take part with that as well. So thank you for letting me share this.
Yes, of course. And let's get you on again a bit closer to that date, and then we can promote it.
Yes, just share. Anybody, it's free. Anybody can take part to bring their love into it, so we can create a massive light beams going out.
And even though our meditation at 8 o'clock is a little late for Europe, the reading can also be brought forward. And we were speaking about last night, those that are asleep during that time frame, they can also go in during the day and really connect with people. So we know that just taking the time to really bring our love and light to Gaia at any moment we can is one of the biggest, most beautiful gifts we can offer our planet. So,
Yes.
so we obviously, in time zones that may not be you know,
Yes.
easy for everyone, there's other times where you can just click on and just take part in that meditation.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
really
Beautiful.
connection to our within ourselves.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So much love, Beverly. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Beverly.
so,
Thank you.
so much to you for this opportunity, this time, this sharing, and we can't
Yes.
wait for you to watch what we're going to be doing after.
Yes. Beautiful. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful evening with your fun.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, love.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.